Peace. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome, family, to Tea Time Podcast by Atiya J. This is your self-help, spiritual podcast, uplifting topics we all love to avoid, but we definitely need to conquer. Tea Time is your moment to pause, listen, and absorb what is soothing to you. I'm Atiya J, aka Tia, a certified holistic life coach, and this idea was sparked by my passion to help others discover their latent potential, purpose, and significance, especially if you are one who feels overlooked, alone, or forgotten. You are not alone. You are not forgotten. I see you and I feel you. Welcome to Tea Time Podcast. Enjoy the tea. Like who we are as a people, like drumming is our thing. So when you talk about beat making, that's natural to us. Like we always did that to communicate. Like, even in the lunchroom, we weren't producers or beat makers, but we in there.
Yeah, it's just rhythm.
And everyone knew that. Yeah, we would come in and be in sync. Peace, assalamu alaikum. What's up, Tea Time family? It's another episode of Tea Time Podcast. Today, I'm super excited because we have two guests. You've seen Matt before, Webb The Artist. That's my husband as well. And I'm excited to bring on an old friend from Be More. We got DLow.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, welcome.
Glad to be on Tea Time.
Facts. And thanks for hitting me up. I put out a poll, as you saw, asking people what do they want to talk about and do they want to be on the podcast. And you jumped in, and I'm super excited that you did, especially hearing now about what you've been working on with your webisode. But I'll let you get more into your introduction. So tell us about who you are.
I'm Baltimore native, born and raised East Baltimore to be specific. I was just a little kid, growing up in Green Mountain 33rd, 5 years old when I moved over to Edison, Bella and Edison. Basically, just bringing my artistic movement when I was a little kid. I never knew I never thought I would be able to, rap and make beats, but I managed to do it through the love of listening to Q-Tip. And Q-Tip is my idol. Yeah. That dude is my idol right there. Like, I love the Tribe. That was like one of my first albums. His first album that he created was the first album I actually listened to from beginning to end. As a young age, I was only 8 years old when I got introduced to it from my mom. So she actually had the CD in a Honda 97 and threw it in there and just started bumping that, and not knowing that the producer was Jay Dilla.
Facts.
and later on in life, when I became in my my teens, I started to find out who Jay Dilla was and connecting all the dots and seeing that Q-Tip and Jay Dilla, they were like this, and like they literally was like one of the people that inspired me to do what I do, like rap and make beats. They're like the people that I really look up to the most when it comes to the music. But pretty much Baltimore Flips started with like little to none. I had my camera, and I basically wanted to put people to the challenge of creating in a small time span. So it's definitely influenced from the Mass Appeal Rhythm Roulette, which is on YouTube. We all know Mass Appeal is owned by Nas. The difference between mines and Rhythm Roulette, like Baltimore Flips and Rhythm Roulette, is it's based upon people that are not known, but they are known in different areas and different aspects during the underground realm. But it brings light into the art that we have here in Baltimore. And also puts people to a different challenge rather than picking up vinyls blindfolded. They are, on a scarce level of making sure they pick the right genre that they want. Unless it's a bad genre they don't want, they're not comfortable with doing, they have to do it. So like you kind of deciding your way of making something out of nothing, basically, if you pick the genre that you're not really familiar with.
Special.
But yeah, and I give the beat makers / producers like a 30-minute time span to create. The way it works out from beginning to end, they show up to the record store. They pick out the random genre out the black box. Now the genres consist of jazz, R&B, soul, electronica, and also country. So, and opera. That was the sixth one. I knew it was the sixth one.
That's fire. What?
So, like, if you was to pick like opera and country, and then when the person was like a hip hop producer, and the only thing they focus on is like jazz and R&B.
Yeah, that's different.
You know what I'm saying?
Challenge.
Have you had that yet? Has anybody attempted that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
One of the people on one of the producers on that, he's probably the most well-known producer on there, not trying to be biased or anything like that, but he is definitely a person that just creates like some crazy well-known beats that we all just can vibe to, and and if we are into like the SoundCloud wave, he's definitely in that wave where like a lot of people know him in SoundCloud. So basically he was put to the test, and I don't want to spoil too much, but he actually picked opera. So
That's
opera
crazy.
was like something that he was like he wasn't too comfortable with doing, but he was just like, all right, I'm up for the challenge. I'm gonna do it. So he did it, and he did like a crazy job on it. Like it was dope.
Yeah.
Like,
that's
make
definitely
sure
amazing, man.
Yeah,
That's the
make sure y'all check out
creativity.
that genre.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Make sure y'all check
What's
out
the
that
name?
episode. Oh,
You gotta
I'm leaning
send
into
us-
the laptop.
You send me the link, and I'll link it in the show. And when I post this on YouTube as well. But y'all definitely got to check that out, because that sounds crazy. I'm gonna watch it after this.
Yeah, it's definitely something fun to watch. Because a lot of people don't know how the production is done behind the scenes. So it gives you that platform to look and see like what the producers do before they start the beat. Exactly.
Yeah, because they just hear the finished product and it's like, okay, you know what I mean? But like, how do you build up to that finished product?
Exactly.
So seeing it in between, it's definitely a journey. It's important to see now. Nowadays, it's important to get that visual and idea of like, how does somebody create? Because that's insane for an opera and country to like. That just sounds like
that sounds crazy.
That sounds like a real statistic math problem.
That's right.
Yeah,
well, some different. Like,
and it's a producer on there that and it's crazy. Like I'm glad. I mean, I'm not saying I'm glad. It's just fun to watch it behind the camera, you know. And it's fun to film it as well because one person actually picked opera. Well, I think it was two people that picked opera, and then another person, and was the only person in season one, picked country. So it's definitely fun to watch people get into that challenge, because a lot of times they don't feel comfortable doing it, or they just like, oh man, I wish I picked something else. And and you see that interaction and that engagement when they pick the genre and how they react to it. So it's a lot of fun to watch. Like
that's very interesting, man.
Yeah,
sounds very interesting.
Y'all check out Baltimore Flips. We definitely gonna link it
for sure. Definitely like that.
Thank you.
I definitely want to look into that.
Yeah, of course. So you had me thinking we're gonna put a pin in J Dilla because I love him too. But you distinguished between a beat maker and a producer. Why?
Because a beat maker is a programmer. And what I mean by programmer is a person that will literally use their laptop and focus on programming different sounds on different scales using digital audio workstations such as FL Studio, Logic Pro, MPC, and then everything else that's out there for people to make beats on. So what they're doing is they're programming the beat to create it. A producer is more so on the lines of focusing on how the song is brought out. like, you know, overall the overall song, like how the person interprets the artist from being into the song, into the beat. So the artist will be focusing on either singing or rapping, or singer will be focused on this part of the song. The producer is responsible for making sure that person is on that specific part of the song. So that's what producing is basically a conductor. That's the difference between a beat maker and a producer. Like a beat maker just makes beats, a producer just orchestrates the whole song. So like a lot of people get that, you know, misconstrued, because it's like, it sounds, you know, they think the definition is the same, but it's not. So
I was in that realm at one point, until I further understood, like, because, you know, coming from the artist role, and then I had, like, my two brothers were producers. They produced for me, but I was always learning how they produce and what producing is, and just understanding that creating a song in that realm and along with the beat, and just creating everything, arranging everything how it's supposed to be, that's all a part of the production, you know. So like, just understanding that more and more is it's just interesting, you know what I'm saying, as you gain more knowledge on the terms of it, I guess you could say, from a beat maker to a producer, you know what I mean?
Exactly. And it's a lot of fun, man. It's just like, I've been doing this since 2008, you know, making beats. And then I got along the lines back in probably, like, I'll say about 2009, 10, I started to get focusing on producing. And that's when I started to learn about the difference between a beat maker and a producer. Then back in 2000, I think it was 11 or 12, I started to go to school for audio engineering. And I learned every aspect of recording, micing up, how producers, you know, are being utilized with the artist, and learning the whole history about it. So it's like, it's definitely fun.
Music theory.
To learn it. Yeah, I had music theory. Music theory is something interesting that I still need to learn about. Notes. I feel like it's different and all that stuff.
I feel like we learn it differently from the written documentation, I guess you could say. You know what I mean? It's like it's like a choreography versus like just freestyling. Like, you just have that vibe, that natural ability to just, you know, you could hear a key and just match that key on a song or something like that. You know what I mean? Exactly. I feel like it's different from like looking at written words on how it's like the science behind music. You know what I mean?
And that's
like,
true. That is true, because I learned by doing. So if I was to learn how to play piano, I have to learn how to do it by physically, you know, doing it. And then learning the notes.
That's what that note is. Yeah, exactly.
You know what
I'm
saying?
I did it. Yeah. Now what did I just do? Right. Oh, that's what I did.
Right. That it sticks better. That's a fact.
Well, other people read the notes and then they learn how to do it. And I can't do that.
It's different, man.
That even goes with like who we are as a people. Like, drumming is our thing. So when you talk about beat making, that's natural to us. Like, we always did that to communicate. Like, even in the lunchroom, we weren't producers or beat makers, but we in there.
It's just rhythm.
And everyone knew that. We would come in and be in sync. But no, it's definitely something about Black people when it comes to music. It's natural. Like, we don't have to learn about it, but when we do learn, we become monsters. Like,
hold on, you brought up something that's very important, and you guys know as well. Drums, right? Like, the African culture, our people, our ancestors created that. You know, like, we're the pioneers of like drums and sounds and just using drums to have fun and be in an environment where the culture is brought upon. The families, you know, Africa. You go to Africa, it's all drums. You know, that's it. And that's how we just have that certain kind of rhythm that we focus on, and it's amazing. Like, if it wasn't for drums, we wouldn't have a lot of producers, a lot of beat makers that we have today. you know. So like definitely, that's definitely something that I did notice that, you know, we you know, my African culture, our African culture is just so based upon of like we're naturally drawn to like drums and knowing how to do drums, like you said, like knocking on the tables in school, like, you know, making beats and like going to school with a pencil in your hands, you know. So it's like it's cool.
Just natural.
It's cool. Like it's all natural. Like we just
it's
like
just
nobody told us to do that, but we just
we just all of a sudden just using your wrist, almost breaking, spraining that thing.
Facts.
Remember when the grinding beat came out? Everybody was doing that beat. Everybody on the
I feel like everybody knows that beat. Like
easy.
Everybody knows that.
That's
beat.
the first, like when it's like when someone's like, "Yo, give me a beat." That's that first one. That was that first one all the time.
Exactly.
Easy to freestyle.
And then the whole other table across the lunchroom is doing it too now.
That's crazy.
Nah, it's beautiful.
Nah,
but speaking of like,
it's definitely dope.
Yeah. Speaking of our roots as African people, Black people, what is it that's special about Black producers? When you hit me up, you said not just producers, but Black producers. What's special about us?
Well, we're, like I said, we have the skill set and the bloodline of the African culture, from drums, making rhythms, creating a whole spectrum of just music making us feel good. And what I mean by that is basically making us feel good about ourselves on a daily basis, not making us feel like we're less of another race, where we're more important than, not more important than others, but we're more important than what we think. And we all have a certain kind of art. Now, when I say producing, and this probably will broaden out the scale of what we're talking about, and what I'm talking about is music. We also know how to make movies very good. When producing movies is something that we also have a skill set in, and producing multiple different skill sets involving art. You know, we can really bring things to the table like no others. And a lot of people wouldn't think that, because some people outside of our race is basically so sheltered. They don't really know, like, you know, certain things that we done, like our ancestors done, or producers from back in the day have done, like far as like, you know, the beginning of time of music, you know, when music was first broadcast on anything that we can listen to off of radios. You know, radios is something that the Black culture is definitely fond to, and still to this day, but not as much as in the past. Our radios today are our iPhones, our cars. You know, well, radios are probably not known in our vehicles anymore, because unless we got satellite radio, but we use, you know, Apple Music, Spotify, you know, all these different outlets to listen to music. That's our own radio. That's our radio today, you know, and it's getting better and better over time. Like we have different aspects of different outlets of trying to listen to music, or trying to listen to something that's involving with our culture, involving with uplifting our culture, and actually bringing to the table of what kind of art set that we have. And doesn't necessarily have to be music. It can be other things involving with the Black culture as far as producing, you know.
How do you feel about like the streaming platforms as far as what's going on now for music wise, like to listen, like you can find targeted sounds now, you know what I'm saying, on streaming platforms. Like, do you feel like that's like the like a solid wave? Like, what's your opinion on that, on how we are able to listen to music now? You know what I mean?
I love it. It's definitely something that we all need during these times, especially during the pandemic. I feel like we were getting set for, you know, for this pandemic in a way.
Quarantine definitely did that.
Having the knowledge. Yeah,
exactly. It put you in that box.
It made us
zone in.
It made us stand still Right. It made us stand still and actually take time out to do things like, you know, listen to music and actually get an eye opening from other music. Like I heard people that that I would thought never listened to different genres starting to listen to genres nowadays. I don't know if it's from us growing up, or it's just a thing where as though like it's usually what's happening now is we're learning to do other things, cook, make things, create, you know, just because that we have that time now where we can be in our homes and actually do things for ourselves. It's like, in a way, the pandemic helped us to do for ourselves rather than depending on someone else.
Yes, sir.
So,
in the Black culture,
the
African culture, I definitely feel like it's just rooted in us naturally. You know what I'm saying? That's why, like, when it comes to the music and production and outside of music, just in everything in general, we come from an emotional background where it's like, you know, it's just natural for us to be able to we can put our effect into it. You know what I mean? Like our own nature, it's a part of us. You know what I mean?
I think naturally we're creators.
Yeah.
So
naturally.
I think that's really what it is. It's like no matter what we're going through, no matter what's going on, we're gonna create. When a reason why I love music, I took Afro musicology when I was in class, or I was in college. But in there, I learned how our music was always and is always a form of communication. Whether it's to tell somebody who nobody else knows it, but I'm giving a message to you in this song. Like Wade in the Water was a song that was used to escape slavery. Like
not for real.
all of that. It's like beautiful. Like we find artistic ways to be able to communicate and able to function in any situation. And that's music.
Exactly.
Quarantine definitely did that for me personally. Because when I was stuck in Staten Island, and you know that was a crazy time, but that's where I really zoned in on music wise. Like that's my therapy. That's how I express myself. And that's where I really started to learn my artistry. Like who am I in this music world, and how do I need to express that? And that's where that whole production, understanding it, just grew and grew on me to where I am now. You know what I'm saying? It's that quarantine really did it as far as helping you focus personally on yourself. Because I feel like for black folk, like we are very like we're very strong. You know what I'm saying? Internally, we have the ability to do it ourselves and share that within our culture. You know what I mean? So definitely blessed. Just thinking about that.
One thing,
absolutely. Like,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was saying I was agreeing with you with that because the Black culture is definitely a stronghold, and we're built upon strong families. Now we always depend on grandma to keep us at whole, because grandma was the one that she tell you the stories of how things were back then. You know, so like, and that was the beauty of it. Like, you know, you always, you know, spoke to grandma about what happened when you were younger. You know, you always want to know like the things that they did, and they got come stories. To find out like, oh yeah, the stories. Come to find out that stories align with our stories, and it makes us understand like how we're able to create and what skill sets that we have from the Black community being brought out to the atmosphere, right?
Thanks.
So like living in Baltimore City is like, I'm so blessed to live in the city. You know, I know we get, you know, so many, you know, different, you know, perspectives and opinions about our city because of how the violence is going on and whatnot. But I'm grateful to live in the city because it's making me strong, and it made me strong because the simple fact of like, you know, knowing what to do when you go outside, you know, actually embracing, you know what I'm saying? It's
Talk
like,
your
you know,
piece,
you know what to do when you go outside, you know what I'm saying?
Talk
like,
your piece, you know how to...
when you in a neighborhood, like my neighborhood, like in East Baltimore, I'm from Bel Air, Edison. So it's like, you know, you, at a point of time when, you know, when I moved there at a young age, when I was, you know, 6, with my family, my mom and pops, they bought a house over there, and literally like it was like set to where the community at the time was, you know, based in like what, 97, 98. It was mainly all white people, but eventually white people started to move out because, you know, they didn't like the fact that black people were moving in. So
like, who's them neighbors over here?
Exactly.
Them Thompsons over there. What they doing?
They started to move away. Like prime example, like one of my neighbors, and I was friends with her. It was a white girl that had a white family. She moved. Her family moved to Kentucky in like 99. Like Kentucky, you know what I'm saying? So like,
Maryland got too many of them.
That's a damn shame, yo.
Out of all places, Kentucky, right?
Right.
Ironically, we lived on Kentucky Avenue.
So you know what?
That's God telling them something.
Right. So I'm thinking in my head, I was like, did they move to Kentucky and did the research behind it and saw that, you know, oh, this is a good place for us. Let's move here. You know, like, you know what I'm saying? So like,
them ends don't go to that state.
Right.
Crazy.
But like my point of that is just basically like, you know, they started to move out. The white people in that community started to move out. Some of them stayed, but a lot of them started to move out because, you know, the areas was getting too crazy, and you know, it was like they didn't know what to do with us. So like, but long story short, it's basically one of those things that, you know, our people are being aware and keeping your head on the swivel is mainly super important when it comes to Baltimore. A lot of people just don't realize that people that's outside of Baltimore or people that are living in different areas where they see poverty and they see violence in a different aspect because, you know, we're one of a kind. Like Baltimore City is one of a kind when it comes to everything. You come to our city, it's just basically, you know, it's real all over, you know, so it's no fake people. I mean, you know, you got fake people, but you don't see them being fake all the time. You know, it's some real in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
know,
I definitely
not,
feel
not the bash Hollywood. I'm sorry. Not the bash
No, you
Hollywood.
good.
You know, so like
none of us are from there.
It's one of those things. All right. Well, I'm just saying, anybody that's listening that's from Hollywood, you know, a lot of the times people say things like, all right, I got a call. I'm trying to.
You good?
So a lot of times, you hear a lot of people say like, "Oh, Hollywood's fake," or people in Hollywood, LA, you know, act fake. And it may be true. I don't know 100%, but like,
not fully
that's
sure.
What they say.
Might be.
They say, you know what I mean? Like,
I feel
not you.
I paid 3 visits. Yeah, exactly. I paid 3 visits to LA, so like I haven't seen that yet. So like,
right.
And it's probably there, but I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But
I feel like your energy is important when it comes to that. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you go, your energy is what's that word? What's the word?
It attracts what
you
give
it attracts like so yeah, like what I'm meaning is like there's perspectives for every area within the nation. You know what I'm saying? That you would think like when we went to LA and everything, like how they make it seem so, you know, you go to Compton or whatever like that, but there's positive people in certain areas everywhere you go, or it's more so the people that you want to be based around. You know what I mean? You probably wouldn't even pay attention to that energy that is not attracted to you. You know what I mean? But it's there, but you probably not even it's not in your lane, it's not for you. So I feel like that's in every area, you know. Just
real recognize real. So if you real, you're not gonna attract fake. Or you're gonna bring the real out of the fake.
Exactly. That is true.
And I feel like music definitely has an influence on that as well. In everything, right? You know, and everywhere that you think about. Because you look at the rappers that come from their city, like Chicago, Baltimore, Jersey, whatever, you know, like, and what they talk about. Everybody that listens to them that's a fan, they're influenced automatically by what they're talking about. So you know, a drill rapper talking about how, you know, down on Marcy or Brooklyn or whatever, someone got popped, they talking the whole story. You automatically, the person that's listening is over here like, dang, like someone got popped here and stuff, you know. I'm automatically gonna be like, let's not go in that area, you know what I'm saying? Maybe that's not for me.
Right.
But it's what you promote, you know. So music is a part of that. But as far as like for the Black culture, I feel like we have such a superpower as far as where we come from and how we adapt to our areas and how we want to connect that, like just connect more on a positive note more so now.
I'm actually glad you brought that up, because I do want to ask, when it comes to Black producers, Black artists, what responsibility do they have to the Black community? What's up, everyone? I'm back. I really hope you enjoyed that episode. That was just part 1. Don't forget, I have other parts. Check them out on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you're listening. Before you click out, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this podcast episode. Peace.